Hey fellow babies, welcome back to the Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. We are hopeful that you are a patron on Patreon. Shane could really use the help, so if you can squeeze an extra $1 a month into your budget, that would really help. $1 a week would help even more. Anything you can contribute, because again, this costs money to set up, and I'm not getting paid. So if you want to keep this stuff going, I'm not doing it on my own. I need Shane to do it. Our first question from SIFTD from Sukru Tikves. With more and more free-to-play shooters driving big revenue and leading in hours played, what is the future for dedicated first-party franchises like Halo and Gears? I assume you're talking about things like Fortnite, which is free, PUBG, which you pay for, but the truth is it's a balance. There's all sorts of stuff to do. Fortnite's super fun, PUBG super fun. I think more likely than not, you're going to see Halo with a Battle Royale mode. So I think you're going to get the features that are compelling in Fortnite offered in Halo. If I were a betting man, and I am, that'll happen in this year's Call of Duty too. I think Call of Duty Black Ops will have Battle Royale mode. I think Halo will have it. Funny thing is that the first Halo did have it. I don't believe they had massively multiplayer. I don't think you could do 100 people Battle Royale to the end, but they definitely had one-on-one, because I remember playing this with my cousin's son in 2001, I believe. We played it side by side. We played deathmatch, and I think that when multiplayer became popular on console, I think it was Activision, probably with Call of Duty, who made the decision not to pursue deathmatch. And my guess is, obviously none of us thought about it at the time or cared, but my guess is that they said, we want people to engage in multiplayer and stay engaged. And as you know, in Battle Royale, what happens when you die is you're done. You're off the map. You're out. And so in order to get you re-engaged, you need what's called liquidity. You need a lot of players, so we can start a new death match with a whole new set of players, so all the people who died in this one can go play another one. And that just means you need millions of people playing, so you can constantly have a new battle to launch into. The early days of multiplayer gaming, you didn't have that. So I think liquidity was light in the early days of Halo 2 and Call of Duty first multiplayer, probably Modern Warfare or something. The liquidity was light, so people, if they washed out, would log off and quit. So the idea was, let's keep them engaged by creating respawning. And so respawning became the way to go. So you die, but you respawn immediately, obviously in the safe zone, and then you come out, and if you're me, you get killed in the next 5 seconds. But at least you don't get thrown out of the match, right? And so obviously that came up with a different style of play, where your team gets awarded for kills or whatever. There's different ways to do it. But Battle Royale just fell out of favor early on because there wasn't liquidity. Now let's smash forward 10 or 12 years. Liquidity is not a problem anymore. Liquidity is easy because you get 3 million concurrent Fortnite players. Guess what? There's plenty of room. So because liquidity exists, I think people are fine. Winner chicken dinner. Getting the end of PUBG and being the winner. You don't expect a chicken dinner if you're the second guy killed. You get it. So I think it's become a very popular game mode. I think that if you see that in Halo or Gears a little tougher, third person, but possible. If you see that in Call of Duty, in Battlefield, then I think that those games are going to take over the hour lead over the free-to-play stuff and over PUBG. Again, Fortnite's free, so the barrier to entry is 0. You just need a PC to play it, or a console. And obviously you can't play Halo or Call of Duty unless you buy the game. But ultimately, I think that you'll probably get a Battle Royale mode that's available for everybody in Call of Duty. I think that it would be smart for those guys to lead with that, sell you maps, turn Call of Duty into more of a subscription where you pay $10 a month to play Call of Duty and you just get unlimited content, unlimited weapons, and keep going. You're going to see a migration in business models over time. So good question, but I wouldn't worry that Fortnite's going to dominate and take over the world and no one's ever going to play Halo again. It's evolution, and emulation is the sincerest form of flattery. Our next question from Patreon from Aaron Grimshaw. In your many years of involvement with various markets, what kind of warning signs do you watch out for to know if markets are changing from bull to bear and vice versa? I can honestly tell you I have no freaking clue. So I have been, I'm a very fortunate guy because I've made a ton of money in my career, and I've been prudent about saving. And so I have a lot of money invested in the market. I have gotten my ass kicked in the last 7 or 8 years. I'm up, not even close to what the market's up by. Because I am the classic example of the guy who panics when the market goes down and sells everything and then stays out while it's going up because I don't trust it. So I don't get it. I'm just not the guy you want to come to for overall market strategy and investment advice. There are guys who are really good at that. I follow a guy on Twitter, and there are a million of these guys, but I follow a guy on Twitter, Downtown Josh Brown, the Reform Broker, @ReformBroker. He's the CEO of a firm called Ritholtz Wealth. They are one of hundreds and hundreds, thousands of these investment advisors. Josh is great, and if you want a guy who gets how to balance a portfolio, he's great. Wedbush has hundreds of these guys, so if you want to come to Wedbush, that's fine. There are just so many of them that understand how to balance your portfolio, how to hedge your risk. It's not me, so I'm not the guy to explain it to you. I have made so many mistakes in my life, and my good fortune is I have about $2 million of equity in my home because I have paid down my mortgage by $1 million, and I've been smart about buying a property that appreciates and has grown by about $1 million. So I'm okay. I'm not going to ever starve. And if ever I lose my job or I'm incapacitated and can't work, I pretty much can turn that into $2 million I can invest. So I'm in good shape. And that's my real answer to you. My real advice to you: stay in school, learn a lot. It gives you options. If you have options in your life because you're educated, you add more value than you can from investing. But again, I'm not going to predict markets. The easy answer to bull and bear markets is when the economy is doing fine and when your local currency is strong and interest rates are low. Interest rates are low because of low inflation. Then equity, stock market, is a better investment than debt. When inflation goes up and interest rates rise so either because of that or to slow inflation, bonds become a more compelling investment and the market tends to go down. So what we're seeing with this crazy volatility in the US stock market and global stock markets is fears of inflation. Inflation fears mean people think interest rates are going to go up and bonds are going to be a better investment. To be able to predict that, if you could predict that once and get it right, you would be a billionaire. So I'm not good at that. I'm not a billionaire. Okay, our next question from Twitter from @DigitalFiasco. Rather than increasing revenue through predatory monetization, what a great word, don't you think publishers would be better served by controlling costs through setting more realistic project goals, improving middleware tools, and taking a more Nintendo-like approach where fun is more important than graphics? The games business has moved from all single player all the time to mostly multiplayer. And so this predatory monetization is a response to the fact that multiplayer gaming means that players put more hours into each game. So old days, you bought a game, if you had any skills at all, you played it for 10 hours and you finished it. And then you threw it away, gave it away, traded it in, and you bought a new game. So we used to buy a lot of games, single player. Bethesda, the kings of single player games. The market moved away from that to where you bought a Call of Duty and you played it for hundreds of hours because it's multiplayer. And if you spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on the same game, you bought fewer games. That's what we've seen in the last 10 years. And the publishers are like, wow, we're delighting our customer by giving them hundreds of hours of enjoyment and we're making less money. That's not right. So what was their response? DLC and microtransactions. So predatory monetization, you're getting 500 hours of enjoyment for $60 when you used to get 10. It's not predatory. These guys spend gajillions of dollars delighting you, and yeah, I agree. Everybody wishes they could be like Nintendo. It's hard. Okay, it's hard even for Nintendo to be like Nintendo. But yeah, sure, everybody would love to do that. Bethesda is the most Nintendo-like company of all because they make single-player experiences that are awesome, and they are hundreds of hours typically when they give them to you. So, you know, it's just hard to do. So the point is, it's not predatory. If you don't like it, don't spend the money. Play Nintendo games, you don't have to worry about it. You're basically saying, give me Call of Duty, let me play for 5 years and never spend a penny. You're like saying, I want to pay for the buffet once and eat there every day for the rest of my life. Doesn't work that way. Sorry. They got to pay for the food. Our last question from Patreon, from Jeff Lynn. Thanks for being a patron. With the Bitcoin mining phase in full swing, video cards are in high demand, causing their prices to go way too high relative to what? NVIDIA said it would make a special card just for Bitcoin mining or reserve video game cards for actual gamers. That's funny. Do you know how long it will take NVIDIA to produce these cards? Is there any other way to keep Bitcoin miners from soaking up all the inventory? You know, that's an involved question. It'll take NVIDIA as long as it chooses to ramp up production and get these things out. A month, 2 months. It's at whatever the lead time is to get production on, you know, dedicated video game cards only. I wouldn't worry about that. There's no reason to keep Bitcoin miners from soaking up all the inventory. The answer is increase inventory and satisfy everybody. So if demand goes up for your product, make more of the product. That's the answer, okay? So, you know, if you want to consume Yeti mugs, you don't have to raise the price from 20 bucks to 300 bucks. Make more Yeti mugs. Guess what? That satisfies demand. If you want more, you know, G900 mice, this is a freaking awesome mouse, by the way, make more mice. So no, it's not that hard. I think that this artificial shortage from a very short surge in demand because Bitcoin prices went from 1,000 to 20,000 is temporary. They've already dropped back down to 8,000. I think the frenzy is going to subside. I think demand will be met by increased supply, and I don't think you should worry about it. Thanks for joining us this week on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you're a Patreon patron, we very much appreciate the support. If you can dig an extra $1 a week or a month or a year, that would be really helpful to Shane because he's still got to feed his family. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much, and I'm hopeful you're already following me on Twitter, but if not, follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. Tell 2 friends, get at least one of them to follow me, please. It's good for my ego. It keeps me coming back.